I'm Azaria Tagaya and you're watching Nightline. The top stories. Government to announce decision on face mask on Wednesday. And Liz Truss poised to win UK PM race. Good morning. The decision on whether the people can remove their face masks in enclosed spaces will be announced by Wednesday. Health Minister Khairy said he had chaired an Executive Public Health Committee meeting which discussed the matter.
Saya telah terima sure daripada pakar-pakar kita dan saya masih lagi tengah mengumpulkan maklum balas daripada orang ramai, daripada pandangan-pandangan daripada orang ramai. Minggu depan saya akan buat pengumuman berkenaan dengan pemakaian pelitup muka.
Speaking to the media after closing the national-level Organ Donation Awareness Week in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday, he said the ministry aims to prioritise the safety and health of the public before any decision is finalised. And as such, it will try to include as many opinions as possible. Khairy added that regardless of the decision, the public needs to still be wary of COVID-19 as it is still deemed as a public health emergency and of international concern. Also at the same event, Khairy revealed that registration of organ donation can now be made through the My Sejahtera application beginning September 6th. This following the very low rate of organ donation in the country.
Bila mereka buat ikrar dalam My Sejahtera, maklumat itu akan terus sampai kepada Pusat Sumber Transplant Nasional. So anywhere, di mana-mana hospital sekiranya berlaku kes kematian di mana layak untuk bagi organ, dia akan keluar dalam sistem bahawa dia adalah penerima organ dan boleh tunjuk kepada family members, your family member adalah penerima organ.
According to the Global Observatory on Donation and Transplantation, he noted that only 2.84 organ transplants are done per million population. He also said the number of patients who are still waiting to get an organ donation in the country as of now is 10,442 people. However, he cited that only 2,700 transplant cases involving organ donations had been carried out since 1975. Malaysia was among the 10 countries with the lowest transplant rates in the world last year. When asked about the parliamentary seat he is eyeing in GE15, Khairy confirmed that he will not be defending the Rembau parliamentary seat in the 15th general election. He said he has been told to make way for UMNO Deputy President Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan in Rembau, who had earlier hinted that he wanted to contest at a parliamentary constituency in GE15. The Health Minister said he had no objections to the request and would adhere to the orders from the party's top leadership, with Datuk Seri Muhammad being the Rembau UMNO Division Chief.
Oleh kerana beliau adalah Ketua UMNO bahagian Rembau, saya timbalan kepada beliau. Jadi beliau telah minta saya cari tempat lain lah untuk bertanding. Sebab dia kata dia nak bertanding di Rembau. Jadi saya tidak ada halangan sebab dia memang Ketua bahagian dan dia telah minta supaya saya bagi laluan kepada dia. Jadi saya kena bagi laluan.
Khairy, who has been the Rembau Member of Parliament since 2008, added he was unsure of where he would want to contest as he had been involved in Rembau for over 20 years. He also stressed that he would not want to encroach into other constituencies. Datuk Seri Muhammad had tentatively mentioned his intention to contest in the Rembau parliamentary seat a few years ago and recently reiterated his stance. The government has initiated a study on institutional reform which involves the separation of the powers between the Attorney General and the Public Prosecutor. In revealing this on Sunday, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Seri Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, said the study would touch on the implications of the proposed reform. Datuk Sri Wan Junaidi said the matter should not be taken lightly, even though it has been implemented by many Commonwealth countries. According to him, this is because in the Malaysian context, 19 existing laws need to be amended, including the Federal Constitution. The minister pointed out that the proposed move will have implications on the government's expenditure, since the public prosecutor and the Attorney General will need to have separate offices, libraries and staff. Despite so, he said he would support such institutional reform which requires a comprehensive study before arriving at any decision. On Saturday, political scientist Professor Wong Chin Huat reportedly said that the role of the public prosecutor should be separated from the Attorney General before the next general election. According to him, the proposal is necessary so that the public prosecutor can be free from any political interference. On Monday, Baling MP Datuk Sri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim will know whether he succeeds in his appeal to strike out the corruption and money laundering case against him. The appeal verdict had been postponed twice, from July 1st to August 26th this year, for reasons including the health condition of the former Tabung Haji chairman. The 55-year-old Datuk Sri Aziz was appealing against the Kuala Lumpur High Court's decision on March 12 last year, which dismissed his application to strike out 3 corruption charges involving 5.2 million ringgit in connection with road projects in Perak and Kedah, and 10 money laundering charges involving 13.9 million ringgit, which he allegedly received from Menuju Asas Sendirian Berhad. For the 3 corruption charges, he was alleged to have committed the offences in Kuala Lumpur on December 8, 2010, and in Selangor on June 13, 2017 and April 10, 2018. On the money laundering charges, Datuk Sri Aziz was charged with committing the offences in the Klang Valley, and that's between March 8, 2010 and August 30, 2018. Monday's verdict is to be delivered by the 3-member panel comprising judges Datuk Sri Kamaluddin Mat Said, Datuk Abu Bakar Jais and Datuk Cik Muhammad Ruzima Ghazali. If the Court of Appeal decides in favour of the appellant, Datuk Sri Aziz will be released. If the appeal is rejected, the Baling Member of Parliament's trial will continue. So far, a total of 7 prosecution witnesses have been called to testify in the trial, which started on August 19, 2020. Former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Mohamad Najib Tun Razak was admitted to the Kuala Lumpur Hospital HKL for treatment on Sunday. His special officer Muhammad Mukhlis Maghribi said Datuk Sri Najib was admitted at noon, but details of the treatment was not available. Mukhlis confirmed that the former Prime Minister's condition is stable, and he also expressed his gratitude to the prison authorities and HKL staff for the cooperation and help given. Datuk Sri Najib is currently serving jail time for corruption after the federal court recently upheld his conviction and 12-year jail sentence, as well as 210 million ringgit fine after he was found guilty of misappropriating 42 million ringgit of SRC international funds. Meanwhile, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad was discharged from the National Heart Institute IJN on Sunday. According to a statement from his office, the former Prime Minister would continue to be in home quarantine until Tuesday. Previously, the Langkawi MP was admitted to IJN for observation after he tested positive for COVID-19 on August 31st. The Immigration Department has collected 3.5 billion ringgit in revenue as of August 30th, compared to 2.5 billion ringgit in the corresponding period last year. Immigration Department Director General Datuk Sri Khairy Zaimi Daud said the increase in amount before the end of this year was due to the reopening of the country's borders on April 1st. Speaking to reporters after the 2022 immigration run in Putrajaya on Sunday, Datuk Sri Khairy said the bulk of the collection came from the foreign worker levy, with the entry of 1.35 million migrant workers into the country, followed by the issuance and renewal of international Malaysian passports and compounds imposed on those who violate immigration rules.
Tahun lepas sangat berkurang. Tahun lepas kami cuma berjaya membuat titipan dalam 5 bilion. Kerana tahun lepas kita masih lagi pandemik dan masih lagi sempadan negara belum dibuka sepenuhnya. Dan sebelum pandemik, kutipan hasil immigration ini ialah di antara 3.5 ke 4.5 bilion. Itu biasa sebelum pandemik.
He added that the national border reopening has allowed the department to meet its collection target much earlier than expected. Dato Sri Khairy also did not rule out the possibility that the department would be able to collect 4 billion ringgit by the end of this year with the recent introduction of the Premium Visa Program, PVIP. The program was launched by Home Minister Dato Sri Hamzah Zainuddin last Thursday, aimed at attracting global tycoons to invest and reside in the country for a period of 20 years, starting October 1st when it opens for applications. After this breather, UK PM race, Sunak remains optimistic. Stay tuned. Foreign front. Liz Truss has promised to announce a plan to deal with soaring energy costs within a week if she becomes Prime Minister on Tuesday. The Tory leadership hopeful, the favourite according to pollsters, said she would act immediately to help with bills. Truss, however, offered no details, saying she would need time in office first in order to finalise exact proposals. She added that further support would need to go hand in hand with a plan to boost domestic energy supplies, arguing the UK had become too dependent on international energy prices. She also defended her plan to reverse April's national insurance rise, saying it was inevitable. Those on higher incomes would benefit more, but the move would benefit the economy overall. Her rival, Rishi Sunak, said he would target further payments at the poorest. One of the two contenders will be announced as the next Tory leader on Monday and will replace Boris Johnson in Downing Street the next day. Sunak, in the meantime, signed off his Ready for Rishi campaign with a thank you note for his team and supporters. Sunak, who has made history as the first Indian origin Member of Parliament to compete for the post of British Prime Minister, pegged his campaign around a focus on getting a grip on soaring inflation, a 10-point plan to tackle illegal immigration, fighting crime to make UK streets safer, and restoring integrity and trust at the heart of government. The online and postal ballots cast by an estimated 160,000 Tory members were being tallied by the Conservative campaign headquarters, with the winner to be announced on Monday at 12:30 p.m. local time by returning officer of the election, Sir Graham Brady. According to the calendar of events now set in motion, the newly elected leader will make a brief acceptance speech soon after the results are declared at the Queen Elizabeth II Conference Centre in central London. The rest of Monday will involve the winning candidate putting the final touches to his or her cabinet posts and prime ministerial debut speech. In another development, humanitarian agencies have warned that Pakistan is in need of long-term aid as the death toll from its catastrophic flooding continues to climb. The cumulative number of fatalities since June 14th rose to 1,282 on Saturday, and almost a third of the victims are children. According to the country's National Disaster Management Authority, on Saturday alone there were a further 57 deaths, with 25 of them being children. Aid agencies also warned the country's woes are far from over and that as the disaster continues to unfold, children will be among the most vulnerable. The flooding, the result of a combination of record monsoon rains and melting glaciers in Pakistan's northern mountains, has been described as the worst the country has ever seen. Aid agencies say even if the flooding recedes, the country faces a long road to recovery. US Open. Rafael Nadal's nose was just fine, and so was his tennis as the Spaniard brushed aside Frenchman Richard Gasquet to reach the fourth round. 48 hours after he drew blood by accidentally smacking himself with his racket, Nadal did not have any issues as he improved to 18-love against Gasquet across their careers, sealing a 6-love, 6-1, 7-5 win in their third-round clash. Next for Nadal comes a matchup on Monday against number 22 Frances Tiafoe, an American who reached the fourth round at Flushing Meadows for the third year in a row. Tiafoe advanced to the fourth round for a third year in a row after beating 14th seed Diego Schwartzman in straight sets. The American saved 2 breakpoints in the 10th game of the opening set and staved off 3 more in the ensuing tiebreaker before winning it 9-7. The 22nd seed claimed both of the next 2 sets 6-4, sealing victory with a love game and booking a place in the last 16. Joining them was Yannick Sinner. The 11th seed Italian worked into the late hours of the night on Saturday before knocking out Brandon Nakashima and advancing to the fourth round. Zina came back from a set down to defeat his American opponent 3-6, 6-4, 6-1, 6-2. Zina moves on to face Ilya Ivashka in round 16 on Monday. Also in the fourth round was Marin Cilic. The former champion took 3 hours and 59 minutes to outplay Dan Evans in 4 sets, 7-6, 6-7, 6-2, 7-5. Cilic will face Spanish young gun Carlos Alcaraz in the next round. In the women's category, Danielle Collins saved 3 set points in the tiebreaker to knock off Alizé Cornet 6-4, 7-6 in a match between 2 players who had earlier eliminated former US Open champions. Collins defeated 2-time US Open champion Naomi Osaka in a straight set win in the opening round, and Cornet beat defending champion in straight sets in the first round. The 19th-seeded Collins hit a whopping 52 winners against Cornet and moved on to the round of 16 for the first time in her career to play Aryna Sabalenka. The 6th-seeded Sabalenka cruised past French qualifier Clara Burel to reach the 4th round. The 6-footer took just 68 minutes to win the match 6-love, 6-2. Earlier, top seed Iga Swiatek advanced to the 4th round after downing home favourite Lauren Davis in straights. The world number 1 took 1 hour and 59 minutes to win the match 6-3, 6-4. The 21-year-old Polish will face Yulia Nehemiah in the next round. More to come after this breather. Almost 200 Malaysians fall victim to foreign job scams. Stay with us. of 195 Malaysians have been reported ensnared in job scams abroad as of September 2nd. Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Abdullah said the number comprised of 148 victims in Cambodia, 22 in Laos, 2 in Myanmar and 23 in Thailand. Datuk Sri Saifuddin in a statement on Sunday said of the total, 65 victims were rescued from Cambodia, 10 from Laos, 2 from Myanmar and 10 from Thailand. He added that the Foreign Ministry was also working closely with the Royal Malaysia Police and the authorities of the above countries towards ensuring the safe return of victims. He stressed that all the reports and documents that have been received on the cases will be channeled to the relevant authorities of the said countries for further action. At the same time, Datuk Sri Saifuddin said the process is also subject to the laws and regulations of the countries involved. Datuk Sri Saifuddin also advised job scam victims or their family members to lodge police reports in order to assist the investigations. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, is investigating several individuals in Kuwait over the misappropriation of One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB funds. The MACC pointed out that it has had several discussions with enforcement agencies in Kuwait over the past 2 years. In a statement on Sunday, the MACC said it was waiting for evidence from Kuwaiti authorities that was requested through mutual legal assistance, and the matter is still being studied by the Kuwaiti side. It also said that the Commission is focusing on the recovery of assets and money lost as a result of the embezzlement at 1MDB and several other companies involved. The statement added that the Attorney General's chambers had outright rejected the settlement offer by wanted businessman Low Tek Joe, or Joe Low, to the Malaysian government on July 16th. The MACC urged all parties not to make any speculation regarding the issue to avoid confusion among the general public and which may affect the investigation. Eastern Sabah Security Command, ESCOM, seized 69 pump boats in Ops Gasak Laut, held simultaneously in 4 Sabah East Coast districts on Saturday to check criminal activities including cross-border crimes. Its commander, Deputy Commissioner Hamzah Ahmad, said the operation was aimed at curbing the use of pump boats that could threaten national security as well as the public's safety. In the operation, a total of 88 pump boats belonging to locals and foreigners were screened and 69 were seized for suspicion of violating the Ports and Harbours Enactment 2002. The boats then were handed over to the Sabah Ports and Harbours Department for further action. Hamzah added that 55 people from Indonesia and the Philippines were also detained for not having valid identification documents. All of them were arrested under the Immigration Act for further investigation. He noted that ESCOM will intensify such operations to detect illegal pump boats from time to time. In Johor, a couple believed to be involved in drug trafficking were arrested at a parking area of a supermarket in Johor Bahru last Thursday. State Police Chief Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mamat said the husband and wife, aged 42 and 36 respectively, were believed to have been carrying out the activity since last May and used their apartment in Larkin as a drug store. Police found 14.32 kilograms of heroin, 158 grams of ecstasy powder, 38.23 grams of shabu and 71 grams of ketamine, amounting to 214,287 ringgit when the team raided the apartment. According to initial probes, the man had previous records for drug-related offences, while the woman had a record under the Child Act. The duo have been remanded for 7 days, and the case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Well, that wraps up Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as Sweden's Emil Johansson completes the perfect weekend in Germany, winning the Red Bull District Ride to go along with his best trick contest victory the previous night. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching and have a great week ahead.